Okay, so, unexpected review time. Let's do this. So, Labyrinth is a movie that came out in 1986, directed by Jim Henson, and stars David Bowie, may he rest in peace, and Jennifer Connelly. And tells the story of... what's her name? Sarah, who wishes that her baby brother would be taken away by the Goblin King, and when he does that, she, realizing that it actually has happened, decides she doesn't want that, and Jareth, the Goblin King, played by David Bowie, says, you must go through my labyrinth to get your brother back, and you have 13 hours to do it. So she must embark on the journey to do so. And yeah, something I watched a couple of reviews, and something that they never say is, this is the Jim Henson version of Wizard of Oz. Think about it. There's a tragedy at the beginning of the film. She ends up in this magical world. She goes on this journey. She meets 3 different creature-type people to get to a big castle at the end where there's this big wizard person or an evil person they have to take down. At the end, it's all presented as if it was a dream. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Like, they took the template for Wizard of Oz, added a bunch of other cool stuff into it, and made it a little bit different with the beginning and the end, and the villain and the wizard, putting them together. Yeah, it's kind of like the Wizard of Oz. So, okay, first thing I want to say is, so, the 2 main human actors in this are Jennifer Connelly and David Bowie. David Bowie, at least at this point, was not an actor. He was a singer. And he comes off as a little wooden, you know. But overall, I'd say he does a decent job in the role, especially during the music scenes. David Bowie is, of course, accompanied by his bulge, the infamous Bowie bulge, as they say, because the tights that he is wearing, they flatter him very much, let's just say, in quite a few scenes. The magic dance sequence, you can see it there, and there's a sequence in the cave with the, what's it, Hoggle, where Hoggle gets down on his knees and says, no, no, please, and his nose is right there. It's like, right there. Nothing, tra-la-la. Don't give me that look. Cat's side-eyeing me like, what is that you just did? Nothing, tra-la-la. Okay, yeah. And the other is Jennifer Connelly, who, well, let's just say this isn't an Oscar-winning performance. I'm not kidding. If you watch this and you were told, hey, she's going to win an Oscar, and then you watch a performance in this, at least the first half, you'd be like, really? Her? She's going to win an Academy Award? The first half of this film, she comes off as an annoying brat. But that's the point, right? She's supposed to be, you know, this annoying 16-year-old girl who wants to keep her childhood, and she's whining because her new little brother is taking over her life, and she wants to go do other things like read books out loud in a park for some reason, and she has to babysit her child. This means, or not her child, but her little brother. Babysit a child, her little brother, and yeah, that's when she reads the story of the Goblin King. And to be fair, they do show you that he was following her. You get this bad CGI effect with the owl, which is not terrible, but it's 80s CGI, so it's not that good. Compared to all the puppetry work in this for the rest of the film, it's nothing, tra-la-la. He's squinting now. That's always his judging look, like, really? You have to keep saying that? Really? He's side-eyeing me again. Are you comfy now? The dog decided to go from the bed to the couch. He went from the floor to the bed to the couch. Are you comfy yet? Are you going to stay still now? Okay. So, yes, the puppetry. Let's go from that. Like I said, Jennifer Connelly, she's not very good at the beginning, but I think that's the point, because as she goes on her journey and furthers her journey, she becomes more grown up, and her performance gets better. So I think that's the point. The puppetry work is fantastic. You got puppets in puppets. Like, there's a scene with this giant, big puppet thing, and inside is a smaller puppet. Ogle and the fox who rides a dog for most of its time in the film, and this big pinkish, purplish monster thing, which are the three creatures that she finds on her journey, which is why I relate to the Wizard of Oz. She finds Hoggle first, and he's just, you know, taking a leak in a fountain or something. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. That's exactly what he's doing. And then you get the. Then she saves the pink monster creature, and then they find the fox later. And you know, you could say that they kind of put a bunch of different fairy tale movies in this. Like, you have the Wizard of Oz with that stuff, but then Jareth gives Hoggle a poisoned peach. So a poisoned fruit that the princess or whatever is supposed to bite, that's Snow White, right? And you can say that but when she bites it, it's not, she doesn't die or anything. She goes into a fantasy where she's dancing with David Bowie, and I was watching this part and I went, wait, she's supposed to be 16. How old was Jennifer Connelly during this? 16. Maybe younger when they were filming this. Maybe 15. Yeah, yeah, because her birthday was in December, so she was 15 when they filmed this. She was playing older. Not by much, though. Yeah, at least when this came out. I think she was actually 14 when she was cast, 15 when it came out, so, yeah, and David Bowie was over 30, I think, at this point. It's a very, if you think about it too much, it's kind of weird, but if you can let it go, then it's nothing, tra-la-la. Yes, I'm going to keep going back to that. But yes, and I was enjoying this film. There were parts that I was a little bit bored. Certain moments that I was just like, come on, can we move? Please, just move. Because there's this scene with this weird creature with a thing on its head, and it seems like it takes forever for the scene to get over. And I'm just like, come on, can we just... But then we get to where, like, David Bowie, he's not, like, in the whole movie. Like, he pops in from now and then. There's even a weird cut where they show him in his castle holding the baby, and in the very next scene, he shows up to give him the peach, and I'm just like, wait, how, huh? How'd you go from that? Just really weird. But, yes, and so, what I do like, though, is he's got a clock that kind of ticking down. It actually has 13 hours on it. 1 through 13, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's clever. You know, you got 13 hours, a clock with 13 hours on it to show, you know, getting close. So, you know, to show when she's going to get there. So, the climax is where the movie loses me, because she's told all she has to do is go through the labyrinth and get to the castle, and she can have the baby back. But Jareth reneges on it, because as soon as she gets through the labyrinth, he sends a bunch of creatures after them. No, she beat your labyrinth. Give her the baby. But no, we gotta have a big climax, right? And while it's a great climax, I don't hate it. I feel like this is stretching the premise. The premise is for her to go to beat the labyrinth. Go through the labyrinth. When she gets through the labyrinth, she's won and she gets her brother back. But they extend it because we need climax, which is fantastic, by the way, with the puppetry and everything. It's very good. There's even a point where they have puppet rocks rolling through and knocking people out. It's great. And then we get... Oh, I forgot about the big lip alligator moment that we have in the film. And that's when all of a sudden these fire creatures show up on a bad green screen. And they dance around her like this to some weird music. It's not even the best song in the movie, but it's just... It does nothing to advance the story. It halts the movie. There's a lot of music... There's a couple music numbers that just... Like, Magic Dance halts the song. Halts the film. You can even say the dream sequence kind of halts the film for a little bit. And that's... I mean, most musicals back then, like... I always say the best musicals is where the songs progress the plot. Like Zombies was like that. High School Musical did that. Somewhat. You know? They're either... They're either about something going on in the plot or singing about something moving towards the rest of the plot. But here you have him singing the song in the hallucination in a bubble. Fucking bubbles! And just, you know. And then there's the fire dance thing. And even Magic Dance, as cool as that is, and it's the best song in the film, what is it about? You know? But, because the Wizard of Oz, they had those numbers that stopped the show, like, if I only had a brain, if I only had a heart, if I only had the nerve, but then followed by we're off to see the wizard, and they move on in their journey. But the music numbers are all done by David Bowie. They halt the story. This movie's an hour and 40 minutes. It's not that long, but I don't know. If you realize, because I realized at a certain point, like when we got to that, the whole Dancing with Jareth thing, that's when I realized these songs aren't progressing the story. We have to stop and see this musical sequence, and then we can move on. And that's, you know, it's not a negative, but it's just, I don't know. But we get this final sequence, and it's like an MC Escher type thing. The stairs are all messed up. And again, I'm going, no, she made it to the castle. Just give her the baby. But we gotta keep this movie going. We gotta have a little bit longer. And eventually she does get the baby. She beats Jareth somehow. I'm still not sure how she beat him. Like, she recites the poem that she couldn't remember at the beginning of the film. And then Jareth, like, you have no power over me. Then how come he trapped you in a bubble? Though she did eat the piece. But I'm just saying. And then everything goes back to normal. And she, you know, tucks in her brother. I almost said son. Her brother. And then she starts, she's grown up. She's going to throw away her childhood things. She even gives her brother the bear that she freaked out about at the beginning of the film. And that's great. And we're presented as if it was all a dream that she had. Okay. But then, you know, and then again, I'm sitting there going, okay, it's a dream. But we weren't presented with anything. Like, in The Wizard of Oz, she gets knocked upside the head. And that signifies later when it's a dream, she got hit in the head. Here, she just summoned the Goblin King. He showed up, took the baby. There was no thing in there that signifies she got hit in the head with something or anything. So, we're just supposed to believe it was a dream the entire time. Stretch arm cat. But then, in the mirror, she sees her friends. Oh, by the way, because when the climax happens, she's like, no, I have to go alone. Why? Because that's the way it is. That's the way it is? Then that's the way it is. And I'm like, what a lame way to get rid of your side characters. That's just, you know. But in the end, she's like, I need you. And then, really? Yes. And then they all show up, even the fire creature things, and they're dancing around to Magic Dance, which was a villain song, but they're all the villain song because David Bowie is the only one who sang the songs, except for the No Nonsense Fire song. But yeah, and then we get a song at the end, you know. And that's the end of the film. I enjoyed it. It is my first watch. I have never seen this before today. Again, it was a thing where when they have lunch, and I'm like, I need something to watch, so I went to HBO Max. I'm like, I'll search for it, see if it's on here, because I've been listening to Magic Dance over the last couple of days. The dog's heard it a million times, haven't you? He doesn't mind. He likes it when they dance, don't you? Wagging his tail and stuff. And I love when he wags his tail. Yes, I do. He's like, I'm not wagging my tail for you. Okay, but yeah, so I put it on, and I enjoyed it. I'm gonna give it 8 out of 10. I wouldn't mind owning this. You know, they just came out with the 4K, and I've been wanting to kind of get that, but I wanted to watch it first. I'm glad I got a chance to. I would definitely find a way to buy this. They don't have the 4K at Walmart here, of course, so I'm gonna have to get out eBay or something. But yeah, I wouldn't mind owning this. I think it's a fantastic film. The Jim Henson puppet work. I grew up in that time where you had, like, you know, the Fraggles and the Muppets Tonight and the Muppet Show reruns. I grew up in that, and I liked the whole puppetry thing. And even Elmo and Grouchland came out in 1999 when I was 12. So my brother watched it a lot. But yes, I own the movie, but I don't watch it a lot because I showed it to my son once when he was little. But yeah, it's a fun movie. 8 out of 10, of course, like I said. So what are your thoughts on Labyrinth? Leave them in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one. Nothing, tra-la-la.